Hey everybody, welcome to Inside the Movement. Today I have with me one of our very own worship leaders, Miss Ruth Calzada.
Hey guys, what's up?
Ruth, it is so good having you here. Thanks for taking some time.
I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so tell me, you are a worship leader. How did you get to do that? Like, not just to sing on stage, because that's different, but like to actually be one of those key leaders in our worship team. Walk me through all the journeys that God's taken you on to get to this spot.
Sure. So, fun fact that probably a lot of people may not know is that I've actually been in this church since I was 6 months old. We foundation.
It was the first
my
6 months where you were just backslidden, right?
Yes, absolutely. No. And so I grew up here. Obviously, a couple of years here and there of going and doing ministry other places, but always coming back home here. And so, I think one of the first ways is when I was in kids church, and I just became one of the leaders in kids church, even at 9, 10, 11, and realized that I could sing, and so they just began to just develop me in that, and I would just be on stage and helping with that. And through the years, different leaders coming through the youth band, I was a part of that, and just learning how to just develop not just a skill. Obviously, I did go to college for music degree for a little while, and so got professionally trained, that way. But as far as just learning what worship is and being on the stage and the responsibility of leadership, that came from just leaders throughout. Kids ministry, youth ministry, and then of course some amazing worship pastors that we've had come through here that I've just been able to partner with, and that's just led me here, just listening to the Lord and just following Him, and each step of the way, just learning how to just have a heart of worship. And
I love you are literally a product of this church, and I mean like. When I look at my daughter and I look at my kids, and as I'm thinking through of like, hey, if you go through, the system essentially of this church, and it's not the church, it's what the Lord is doing, but what He's doing here specifically.
Yeah.
And like, we can point to you and we can say like, hey, if you put your kid in, here's what you get out on the other side. And that's encouraging to me, to see like faithfulness is lost in today's culture. When times get tough, people leave, people, move, whatever. And so to see faithfulness and to see like you've allowed God to use you here for a lifetime, not even just for an entire lifetime.
True.
And that's so cool. And now it's got to be neat for you, like seeing your kids in that same spot, because they're on stage with you.
It's so cool. It's so cool. Sometimes I even have to, when I'm on stage and I'm up there with my kids, I'm like looking around. I'm like, oh no, I'm worshiping. I can't be the excited mom that's seeing my kids serve on stage. I have to continue to worship. But it is pretty cool. And I say this a lot of times. It takes a village, and it's been really cool for me because obviously a lot of people in this church were a part of my village that helped raise me and make me who I am. Pastor Darius has been, my pastor for so long, and I even tell him, like, some of it's your fault, No, just kidding. But, Pastor Cindy and just so many leaders here, but it's really cool to see those same leaders get to pour into my kids in the same way.
That's pretty special.
It's extremely special. It's extremely special.
Now, was there a moment for you that, I know you've always been musically gifted and had those abilities and, they've been developed, but was there a moment or was it a process where God like revealed to you, hey, you were made for this? Because I've hear some people, they're like, I was having breakfast in my kitchen and suddenly, the light shone in. Other people, like, it was a slow realization. How was that process for you as you were kind of unpacking what God had for you?
I have two really special moments in my life that I very distinctly remember. And I'm an emotional person, so if I cry,
hey, you won't be the first one.
I'm a crier. I cry at commercials. I have one of the most intimate moments I ever had with Jesus. When I look back, honestly, was when I was 6. My very first encounter with the Lord was when I was 6, and it was at a day camp. We had an evangelist come through. They would do services, and then a day we would go somewhere like the zoo or something fun. But one morning, they came in and they were just talking about the love of Jesus, that simple. And like I said, I'd been in church for, 6 years. I was 6. So, but I just had this like overcome emotion. And they were singing a song, and I remember it. So you better give your life back to Jesus. He will fill your emptiness, all the wrong you've done. He'll throw into the ocean. He'll forgive and forget. And, I mean, at 6, what did I have a whole lot to forgive and forget? But I just thought, and they just kept singing that over and over. And I just said, gosh, I can't live without Jesus. And I remember going in a corner in the kids' service, and God, I felt like I sat there for 3 hours. It was probably only maybe 15, 20 minutes, and just told Jesus how much I just loved him and wanted to just love him the rest of my life the way he loved me, which don't know that I ever could love him the way that he loves me, but that was one of the most intimate moments. And I remember it just like it was yesterday.
And I've heard people, as I've talked with different friends at different places and stuff, I've heard some people dismiss what God's doing in the life of a kid. And I can't believe that anyone would ever do that. And this is the perfect example, because literally that moment you still remember years later. And
I remember everything about it.
Wow.
Everything. I remember the color in the rooms. I remember Chuck and Kathy Jean were their names. I remember just the smell of the old kids' church room.
Yeah.
It was just such an encounter
with
God. And from then, obviously I grew and grew. And another really cool moment I had, I was 12, and I was serving on youth band, really young. And of course, I'm not speaking to all 12-year-olds, but when you get to the point where you get to be on the stage and you get to use the talents that everybody has told you had, and you're finally like, oh, I've arrived.
Here I am.
I mean, if we're being honest, that's kind of how I was. I was like, here I am. And so one night I was singing and I was worshiping and doing what I do in youth band, and I just felt like I was kind of having this not right attitude, and in that moment, I was doing it because I was excited about the attention. And I don't remember the song we were singing at this moment, but I do remember the Lord asking me to kneel. And I knelt, and he said, if you're not doing this for me, I can take it from you. I will give you this if you will use it only to serve me. And I just prayed and said, God, please forgive me. And I never want to bring attention to myself. When I worship, it's only for him. It's only to bring people into his presence. And it was such a humbling experience. And so every time I go on stage, before I walk out, I pray in my heart and just in my mind and my spirit, God, just make me invisible and let only people only see you. Let people only see Jesus. And that was a really powerful moment. And again, I was 12.
Yeah.
I was in a youth service, and I realized this is something that I can do for the Lord.
Yeah.
Only for the Lord. It was
I
to
remember,
the point.
I remember something my mom told me. She said, the world's going to want the gift that God gave you. And that was kind of that moment almost for you where,
Absolutely.
I mean, you could have easily started to, head this direction and be like, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Absolutely.
And I love that God, at the age of 12, course corrected you so that you didn't, because, I mean, I've heard you sing, and I mean, you're as talented as they come, and you could have gone off and done big, huge things. But God wanted to keep that heart pure. And he's like, nope, that's not the direction that I want you to go.
I'm so thankful for that.
And talented people like you, and not just in music, whether someone's talented in finance, whether they're talented and they've got this mind that can think ahead, all these different things. The world wants those gifts, and again, these are gifts from God that God has put inside of us. But unless we're using those gifts for the Lord, I don't think we'll be fulfilled. And it leaves a life of frustration and regret.
Absolutely. There's nothing more fulfilling than just being a part of a worship experience where you're leading and you're seeing people just worship and just pour their hearts out, and to know that, man, I'm a part of this. I mean, every single time I walk off the stage, I take a breath and I just say, God, how did you choose me to get to be a part of this?
What is it about worship specifically that you feel makes it easier for people to connect with God? Like, I even think of me personally, in some of the most intimate moments that I've had with the Lord have been in worship settings. And not all of them, but a lot of, maybe even most of them, I would say, there's been, either worship music playing in the background, or it's actually been in a worship setting. What is it about worship that you feel helps connect people to the presence of God?
I'll tell you what it is. Worship is the only thing really we can give back to God in comparison to what he's done for us. Why do I worship the way that I do? It's literally the only thing, the bazillion things that he's done in my life. Mm-hmm. Worship is the only thing that I have to give back to him. So that's what's so intimate. It's your complete surrender. It's you saying, I can do nothing compared to what you've done for me. So I'm just going to just praise you and worship you. And that's what he wants. He wants us to just be with him and just tell him how much we love him. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what it is. It's the most, worship is probably one of the most ultimate signs of surrender. Whatever posture you're in, whether you're kneeling, raising your hands, it's the most ultimate sign of surrender. And when you're surrendering everything in worship, how can you not be intimate with Jesus?
I've heard the phrase a lot, live a life of worship. What does that mean to you, though?
I don't turn my station off of worship music or Air One radio. I just constantly want to make sure that I'm just keeping an attitude of worship, just everything, just giving him back what he's given me, just honoring him and just praising him and thanking him for the small little things, just if it's rainy one day and sunny the next, yes, Lord, thank you for the sunshine today, I mean,
it's just always on your mind.
Always just an attitude of, great God, I honor you. God, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so thankful for you.
Tell me this then, on the flip side of that, what do you think it is that prevents people from being able to truly engage in worship and truly being able, as you said, if worship is surrender, what prevents people from fully surrendering?
Fear, for sure. Not knowing when I surrender, what is it going to change who I am? Yes, in a good way. And then distraction. Literally distraction. Our minds are just going constantly thinking about this, thinking about that, and we're just not clearing our head. I mean, even sometimes in worship services, if I'm not leading, I'm sitting out there and I'm looking, and there's like, oh, the lights, oh, the things, and then I'm like, oh no, distractions. Clear your head. Focus on, I really think the biggest thing is just fear of not knowing what, surrender's scary.
Yeah,
scary.
It is.
It's like the trust fall. Are they going to catch me? It's scary.
Yeah, it's I picture someone you're driving the car and you know where that car is going, but when you turn and say, God, you take the wheel, you don't know where that car is going to go. And God's going to drive you in the right spot, but it may not be the destination that you want it to be.
Say it.
Ruth, thank you so much for coming in.
Absolutely.
And singing, and even I can tell you it's the best sounding podcast we've ever had. But
scratchy voice and all.
Yeah, but thank you so much just for your heart and your faithfulness. I can't say that enough. Our church is better because you have been a part of it. And I look forward to the day that your grandkids and great grandkids are here and they get a look and they're like,
we got all kinds of time for that, but
Mama Ruth, she's been here forever. And I again, love having you here. Thanks so much for jumping online today with us.
Absolutely. Thanks, Pastor Jeremy.